got those. I got a few more symptoms, and some of them are similar, but taking ownership over their behavior, back to that guilt. Isolation, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And that's a bit of those behavior loops and getting into that. Letting your life take a back seat to the addicts. I see a lot of parents who now are not taking care of themselves. They don't eat, they're not showing up to work, they're starting to have a whole lot of issues in their own lives based around chasing around, either trying to control, fix, save, protect, love the addict in their life. Hoping it'll go away on its own, ended up in just denial. This is painful, I don't know what to do, so I'm in denial. Trying to control their environment. Some try to control the addict, and they can't do that, they try to control the whole environment. This is particular with our younger ones that we work with, but it happens with adult addicts too. Well, I'm going to get this person out of their life. I'm going to get the school to quit allowing drugs on the campus. Schools don't allow drugs on campuses. We got to see how many parents I've seen that have taken up that cause. I'm going to exercise drugs from this high school. Not going to happen, right? I'm going to find somebody that I can blame. I'm going to try to control the circumstances. If I can get this girl out of his life, then everything will be better. And there's a lot of energy and effort that ends up going into that. And you can see how the family's getting sick as all this is going on. And I have there at the end the blaming anyone or anything for your behavior or your kid's behavior, because eventually we can just start to turn it outward. You get angry, you're afraid enough, and it can just start to get pointed at the rest of the world a little bit. So this is the family disease, if you will, building, and what's happening as a response to what's going on with the addict. So if the whole family is getting sick, I believe that the solution is family recovery. If we're going to get sick together, let's get well together. And family recovery almost always, in my situation, starts with the parents. It is very rare that I get a 17-year-old or even a 21-year-old that calls us and says, you know what, I got a drug problem. I want help. With that age group in particular, it just does not happen very often. So what we usually see is usually the parent hits a point. You've heard the term hitting a bottom. A point at which you go, I cannot tolerate things to go on the way that they are anymore. And so you do something outside of the norm and you go, I'm going to ask for some help. And that's usually when people call me. It is almost always initiated by the family. And I think that's a good thing, because it's one of the first things I tell them is, are you ready to start to get better? Because no matter what happens with your kid, we're going to get into how to do anything from, if I'm telling a family we're going to do an intervention, we're going to get the kid in treatment, they're not going to go to treatment, we're going to give you ways to respond. But what I need to know first and foremost is, do you want to move forward? Which is why I love PAL, because that's what it's all about. I think this is one of the best organizations that we have going in this country, because I also believe it's one of the things that treatment does the least well is do entire family recovery, counseling and treatment. And I hope we do it better and better and better as a field over time. That and long-term aftercare are my two biggest gripes about treatment. So if that's the case, if we don't have all those symptoms that are going on and the family's getting sick, what do we want to do? We want to help the family recover as a whole. And so if somebody comes to me, I don't see, they use the term identified patient in treatment. To me, I'm going to say it's the family. It's not just the addict. So I even know that I'll tell a parent as boldly as this: if you come in and think you're going to write a check and drop your kid off and everything's going to get better, you might as well set that money on fire. I'm serious. If the family is not going to get better, things are not going to get better in the home. This has to happen. So I'm a little. The slide again just reflects my thoughts here. Nothing changes if nothing changes. If you want different results, you're going to have to do different things, and that means you're going to have to do different things, because you're the one that I believe that you have power over. And that's what this is, again, sitting and talking to a parent is, I can't change the rest of the world, right? I can change me. I can't control outcomes, but I can go, well, if I got sick with them, I can get better. And there's some real benefits to that for the addict also. And we'll get into that. So I have that there. Who can you control? And those are the first four things that I suggest taking a look at for all families, is start to take a look at your guilt. It's the number one thing that seems to keep the family in the loop, is that false belief that I've brought up several times already, that I must have done this somehow. I'm guilty for it. It's my fault. So I'm going to kind of tolerate it, continue to going on, and I'm going to continue to participate. Fear after that, a lot of times I hear, what if they get worse? What if I start to let them deal with some of the consequences of their own behavior, or give them the support to go, you can handle these problems? You guys, anybody who attends PAL is learning that. You know, you're empowering your kid to go, you can make it, and you can deal with some of these problems. That's a lot of the focus in the PAL meetings, right? But a lot of times it comes with fear. If I start to let them deal with it. If I don't call them in sick to work, if I don't vouch for them, then they'll lose their job, and then things will get worse, 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 worse. And so that fear can keep you responding in a way where it can keep them from dealing with natural and logical consequences of their choices. Control, I've already talked about, and then that hurt. In this slide, I changed the anger to hurt, is starting to deal with that so that you're also not lashing out back at them. And because I really believe, to go back to the video that Dr. Davis showed, he's talking about loving addicts. And I am a huge proponent of boundaries and not allowing yourself to get pulled into things that are going to be family sickness or enabling the addict to continue. But it has to come from a place of love. And I have a slide we'll get to about talking a little bit about that. But if you're angry, your boundaries will come from anger oftentimes, which means they won't last. That when they come from a high heated place, finally I've had enough. I put my foot down and lock in the doors, you're not coming back. When you calm down, you can't sustain it. When a boundary comes from a place of love, it can often be sustained. And when the natural order of the parent-child relationship, to me, is in order, which is I love you. Imagine that if you shut the door in anger, right, and they go out and something bad happens, you're going to have a really hard time living with yourself as a parent. But if it's loving, there's nothing else I can do. I'm not going to give you money to go score drugs or do something that's going to hurt you. I love you. I'm right here when you're ready for a change. Right? That's a very different place. That can allow a parent to go, you can do what you have to do. And I'm going to be right here loving you the same no matter what. And that hurt, I think dealing with that can really, really help that, so that boundaries aren't coming from anger and so that we're not lashing back out. That's human, right? We get scorned, we react. That's what we do. So we want to help parents learn to be able to handle that.